Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is Rusty and Heather Bryant. We're excited to be back for another episode of the Redeemed Marriage where we talk about marriage stuff. And, you know, a lot of times our episodes are pretty heavy and just we discuss some pretty deep marriage issues. And not that this one's not important or deep, it's just maybe a little lighter than what we sometimes do. And so, do you ever think, how in the world did he come up with that episode?
Yeah. I do a lot of times, but they're always great. So I never am like, why? I'm just like, how?
Well, so the behind the scenes of this is usually I come up with a topic and I tell Heather about it and I let her process and chew on it a little bit, and then she can say, yeah, it sounds good, or yeah, we should go in another direction or something like that. But most of the time it's my thought for the topic, and we do keep a list of like, hey, we need to talk about this sometime. And a lot of that comes from stuff that we're dealing with. You know, maybe it comes up in marriage coaching, and we're like, ooh, a lot of people, you know, ask about that. But this was one of those that, to be honest, the reason why I thought about this is because this phrase came up, and I don't even know where it came up, but somehow it was referring to a phrase that we said when we were boyfriend and girlfriend. So back in the day, you know, so the terminology for saying this is my girlfriend or this is my boyfriend has changed so much over the years. And, you know, now, like, I remember when our kids were in, you know, teenagers and they were talking about boyfriend and girlfriend or that person's dating or whatever. But sometimes the terminology they would use, we would be like, what? Like, what does that mean? And so anyway, the phrase came up, going with, like, and I remember saying, you know, oh, she's going with him, or he's and that's how you would ask somebody to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. You would say, will you go with me?
Yeah.
And I can remember our parents, especially mine, be like, where you going?
Especially my dad.
Yeah, where are you going?
Daddy, can I go with him? Where are you going?
Yeah, yeah. And so anyway, it made me think, because the reason why I started thinking about it is because I thought, man, all of these different ways that we've kind of put an identity or put a claim on a relationship. If we did those things, that like it would make our marriages healthier. So that's why when I saw this, will you go with me? And one of the things I started thinking about was how, man, people in relationships, it's usually one, or a lot of times it's one or the other, and they're kind of trying to drag the other one along for improvement and, you know, getting help and that sort of thing. And so I started thinking about that term, like, go with me, and like how powerful that can be in marriage. So anyway, it took me down this little rabbit hole, and so I was like, we need to go and see how much the dating terminology has evolved through the years. So anyway, that's why, if you're watching on YouTube, that's why Heather has her iPad out, because we did some research and we came up with found some. And so anyway, if you want to throw some of them out, I just thought it would be fun.
Yeah, so this is kind of like
started.
Decade by decade how terminology works. So for the 1920s to 1940s, so that's kind of a long range. I guess they didn't change much in that.
We were not dating then.
We were not dating. I don't even think our parents were dating.
Probably
All right.
not.
No, they weren't.
No, they were not.
Okay, so I had to do some quick math.
Yeah.
All right, so they would say they were courting.
Courting, I've definitely heard that before.
Or keeping company.
Keeping company, okay.
I've never heard that one.
I don't think I have either.
I've definitely heard courting, because I can remember my grandparents using that term. Like, they would ask.
Yeah,
like,
courtship.
And because it was a big deal. Like, you would have to ask the dad if you could court his daughter.
Right.
So,
well, I think even biblically, when you can talk through like Song of Solomon and the relationship of Song of Solomon, and I know that when you go through that, there is a courtship, courtship stage.
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right. So let's go to the 50s.
Okay.
You ready? Going Steady.
Definitely have heard that.
Yes, because we've watched Grease. I mean, who haven't heard this? Going Steady and Pinned. Like they would put their like class pin.
Oh, like the boyfriend would give their pin to the girl to say, kind of like a branding.
Yes.
I'm branding you as mine.
Like, okay, but let's think. Through the years, we would have class rings. People would wear each other's class
jackets,
rings.
letter jackets.
Jackets, that's right. Now they do scrunchies. Like if the guy wears the girl's scrunchie. Like a hair.
Where are they going to wear it?
On their wrist.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
They do. They wear each other's scrunchies or hair ties.
If you're listening to this and you got a scrunchie on, you need to turn in your man card. That's all I got to say.
It's probably the people listening to this, their kids. They know what I'm talking about.
If your kids are listening, if your kid has on a scrunchie,
our kids would wear not a scrunchie like this one that I have in my hair, but like a hair tie, not a rubber band, but you know what I'm talking about.
Man, if I had known, I'd have told them, give me your man card right now. Okay.
Okay, let's go to the 70s. Now this is us. Part of the early us.
No.
Well, we said these words.
Okay, yeah, they may have started
lingered
in the 70s and then we started dating.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, an item. We didn't really say that.
Yeah.
But if somebody was an item, going out. We're going out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that started, in the 80s. Okay. The 1990s to 2000s were we're dating.
Okay.
Or we're seeing each other.
Okay. A little more seeing each other.
Seeing each other.
I see her.
Don't worry. I see her.
I see you. Yeah. Okay. Obviously we remember those.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now present, like we don't 2010s to present. So this is when our boys were going through
the last decade or so.
Yeah. Okay. So Talking, which that's the one we gave our boys such grief about. Because we're talking.
But this is the thing.
What are you talking about?
And there were stages, there were two different stages of talking.
Yeah.
And we could never figure out, wait, one of them was just, no, we're just talking. Like we're not
on
really,
the phone?
we're not really going with each other.
Like there's not a label on it. We're just talking.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, there was
talking and there
was a label. We're like, well, how do you know?
You don't.
So
because they're nuts.
Hey, are we talking or are we talking? I mean,
well, and that's what this next term I found is exclusive.
Okay.
So we're talking, and maybe you just talk exclusively to that person.
I ain't talking to nobody else.
Just exclusive.
You're the only talking.
Okay, this is my favorite. It's the last one I'm going to throw out. You ready? We're in a situationship.
Oh, Lord.
So they're not in a relationship. It's just they're in a situation. So a situationship is
we have
the
got
term.
ourselves a situation. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. And here's what, just thinking about some of that, what I also find to be really interesting, and I don't know, maybe we'll bring this up and start talking about it in more detail in a minute, but it seems like the terminology has become more vague.
More vague. Absolutely.
And so it's like, now, some of those words that you just said from the last decade, it's like.
From courting, going steady, pinned, like those are all like, this is
real commitment.
Yes, a commitment.
And now
then
it's talking.
we're talking and we're in a situationship. You have to add situationship. Yeah.
I mean, what? Yeah, but that says a lot about our culture.
Yeah.
Culture we're not into making big commitments.
Well, and let's be honest. Let's look at marriage in the 1920s. You weren't going nowhere.
That's right.
You were in it for the long haul.
Now it's just a situationship.
Yeah. And now, like, you get in and think, I know there are probably people who, when they get married, they're like, if it doesn't work out, we just divorce.
100%. Yes.
Like, you know,
Yes.
I mean, that's not everybody's mindset, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. There's always divorce.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's changed as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so
So, what do you want to do with this?
that's it. I just wanted to be nostalgic for a few minutes and just relive the memories of when we were going together. No, I think that some of those terms, if we applied them to our marriage, it would make our marriages healthier.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to learn from some of those terms. Maybe not some of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
Don't get yourself in a situationship, but we can definitely. So I don't know. I thought maybe just throw out a few of them, and then let's talk through them and how they can apply to our marriages, and how they can make our marriages healthier.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just start with the 20s pinned.
Okay, so that's the one where yeah, it's almost like I'm wearing something of yours.
Yeah.
But
and it's like declaring
mm-hmm.
your mind.
Yeah, it's public.
Yeah.
It's very public.
That's right.
So,
same with the scrunchie.
I guess, Lord. But people don't. But see, I don't know. I don't think that's right, because the scrunchie, like, you could just. I mean, dudes have long hair now, you know, and maybe they wear the scrunchie themselves, and people don't even know. But if you were wearing your dude's pin,
that's right, or leather jacket,
leather jacket, then people knew that's
you're taken.
Yeah, you're taken, and you know, there's obviously in a dating relationship, there's some, I guess, unhealthy things that could go along with that, like you know, she's mine, like a property. It almost feels like a property kind of a thing. But when you you know, think of it in terms of marriage, it's that declaration, and where I think it's important is the public display. And so, you know, I do think that marriages these days don't do a very good job of, like, publicly declaring your love for your spouse.
And it's declaring that you are first in my life.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
Like, you come first, and what you desire matters, what you want matters, your hopes, your dreams, all of that matters to me.
And the whole pinning thing was, you did it and you wore it with pride in saying we're together.
Yeah.
Like, we want everybody to know that we're together. And I think that that's missing a lot of times in marriage today, where there's a lot of pride in the fact that we are married, and we want everybody to know. We want everybody to know of our love for each other, and that we put each other first, and we are, you know, we're taken.
Yeah.
Look, there's some marriages that they don't even wear their wedding rings.
Yeah.
A lot. And, you know, different reasons for that, obviously.
But get a rubber one.
Yeah, there's different.
Silicone. Because it makes your spouse feel valued.
Yeah.
And seen, and all of those.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's very few instances where you wouldn't wear your ring. And I don't know, man. I mean,
we even have a friend that they're allergic to metal.
So they had to get a different.
Yeah, they tried like a bunch of different things, and they ended up getting a silicone.
Hey, you can tattoo that Joker on there too.
That's right.
All right, let's
let's go down the list a little bit. How about going steady?
Going steady. Now, I mean, I feel like that is one that kind of has stood the test of time. Like that's kind of, I don't know. Even today, if you say that to a kid, they know what that means, and you don't think kids?
Well, kids, as in our kids' ages, probably. But like, I was thinking kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to do when I go back to school, I'll do a survey.
Well, I was going to ask you, since you work with like 7, 8, and 9-year-olds, right? What do they say when they're?
I mean, they very rarely say something to me, because my automatic response is, "You're too young for that."
Yeah.
But when they do, they always say boyfriend, girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I'm asking her to be my girlfriend.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
But that's 7 and 8-year-olds,
Mm-hmm.
and I always respond with, "No, you're too young for that."
Okay. Well, I mean, at least it's that, and it's not some weird,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
talking or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wait.
That
Which one?
happens in the teenage
Going
years.
steady.
Yeah, going steady.
Okay. So I think that the way that could apply to marriages is just the steadiness,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's consistent.
Right.
And that's kind of what it's referring to is, hey, we're going steady, and there's a consistent relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else. It's
That's
just
right.
me and you.
Well, faithfulness.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
so the consistency is more than just, and the faithfulness, I think, is more, it's an everyday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm showing up.
That's right.
I'm showing up for you every day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can take that and put it into your marriage, then I'm showing up for my marriage every day. It's a steady, consistent, you can count on me. And every day, you know that I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. I like that one.
Mm.
Maybe we should just revert back.
We just going steady.
We just go steady. Okay, how about this one? You ready? We're an item.
Oh.
An item.
You know, I do remember that. I mean, I think what was the year that said that one was from?
Let me go back. Item is 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're an item.
that was back in that was in our era. Okay, so when I think about the word item, I think of just one thing.
Yeah, like they're together. You know, like they're an item.
That's right.
They're together.
Yeah, because when you go buy an item from the
one
store,
thing.
you're just buying one thing.
Yeah. So you're just like, you're a couple. You go together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
And that's right. It's a team.
Yeah.
It's a team.
Yeah, I like that word.
It's a team, and you're together. You are an item.
Yeah. And it's not, this is my life over here, and this is your life over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we're doing life together, whether it's kids, whether it's, decisions, we're doing it together. And that seems silly when you're talking about careers and things like that, but you're supporting each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As one.
As one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like, and we use the word team a lot, especially in our coaching sessions. Just being on the same page and being together.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
All right.
Item.
This one, going out. We're going out.
We're going out.
Which we would say we're going together. Same thing. Going together, going out. But we said that when we were like in junior high. That's when my dad would be like, no, I mean, like he would say, if you're going together, that means you're going and doing something.
Going somewhere.
He can't even drive. So no, you can't go with him.
And so I think those two terms were used kind of about the same time. So I'm going with you, or we're going out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like going out was a little less of a commitment. It was just like, we're going out. Like
we're going to do something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
kind of. Not.
But like if you're going with them, it's so much like we're going
together.
We're going with each other all the time. It's so funny. We can't even explain this garbage. But going out sounds more like a date.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, I'm going out with him Friday night. That maybe is not real exclusive. Right. It's just we're going out. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that even that in a marriage, like we're just terrible at dating our spouse.
Yeah.
And going out.
Yeah.
And so, we preach that a lot, how important it is to be really intentional about going out with your spouse and dating your spouse.
Yes, and that doesn't mean you have to get all dressed up and go fancy-fied, because here's the thing. That changes as season changes. I can remember when we had little kids, going on a date, I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to be away from the kids when we went out on our date. I wanted to go somewhere fun. I was young, so loud didn't bother me, all of that. But now, and we still like to get dressed up and go to a nice restaurant and eat dinner. Yes, we do. But like there are times where I'm like, a great going out to me would be to just go like we did the other night. We went and ate sushi and then we came home and caught up on a couple of our shows that we like to watch. And that was so much fun. So it doesn't have to mean a specific thing. It just has to mean what's important to you and your spouse.
Well, I even think yesterday was a beautiful day in Mississippi where we live. And so I was at the office and you've been off this week for spring break. And we just met somewhere for lunch where we could eat outside because it was so pretty. And I had my computer and you had your iPad, and we sat there for several hours and we just kind of worked together, did a lot of marriage stuff, but we were just working and just together. And I mean, it was a work date, but it was a date.
We went out.
We went out.
We go together.
We go out. We go with each other. We go with each other to nukes.
Okay, you ready? We're gonna get into these newer terms.
Oh boy.
See if we can make sense of this. Here we go.
Probably not.
Talking.
Well, that's a brilliant one. I mean, that's like the worst thing that married couples do is talking.
But let me guess where you're going with this. Communication.
That's right, because we
Yeah.
stink at it. Everybody stinks at it is what I'm saying. We don't. We're pretty good at it now. But gosh, I mean, maybe if these young kids that called it talking,
Maybe they should teach us how.
well, I was thinking maybe if that's what it actually meant was talking, then maybe they would learn. And then when they get married, they would know how to talk right to each other. But no, I think that's a big one in marriage is just, man, like if we could apply that to our marriage, everybody would be in better shape.
That's right.
We're really, communication is number one on, the biggest obstacles that marriages face these days.
That's right. That one was a pretty easy one to translate.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was an
Okay,
obvious
this one's going to be, well, I don't know. All right, you ready? I'm going to throw you a curveball. Exclusive.
Well,
We're exclusive.
Well, yeah.
But if you're married, you're supposed to be exclusive.
You're supposed to be exclusive, yeah. Well, that's...
But in dating, it's like, I'm committed to just you. I'm not going to date anybody else. We're exclusive.
But I think that what happens even in dating, when you declare that to somebody, you declare we're going to be exclusive. And then, and again, dating relationships, they are preparation for marriage. And so there's a lot of things that you put into place and you learn about each other. But there's also some very big differences in being married and dating. But in the exclusive category, if that's what you've declared to somebody in dating, then I think that that's where you start practicing things like boundaries and, that you're putting things in place where my significant other, my boyfriend, my girlfriend feels very safe and is very comfortable that I'm not out shopping for somebody else.
That's right.
Like it's just you. And if some of those boundaries start getting pushed or broken, and even if you've talked about it, then that's when you start knowing this is not the person I want to marry. Because if it's happening in a dating relationship, then it's definitely going to happen in marriage as well. Right. And so, when you translate that over into marriage, then the obvious thing is then you get even more extreme boundaries and more extreme in your exclusivity. And if you don't, then things happen, obviously, which is why this podcast even exists.
All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one and the last one is situationship.
Situation. That's
this
the way
one just
Kevin James says it.
Yes, he does. But this one, I don't know. How are you going to? I mean, this one, that word's just dumb. Situationship. Like what? How are we going to get that one into marriage?
Well, no, here's what I think. I think that the word situationship, I think it describes how it has evolved through the years in saying things like courtship and things like pinned and going steady and exclusivity and those kind of things. And then now all of a sudden, here we are with we're in a situation, or we're talking, and like I said before, they're so non-committal, and so I feel like that there's a lot of marriages that exist like this.
Yeah.
They're not really. I mean, they're just going through the motions. They're just in a situation. I mean, the situation is we said I do, and we have a piece of paper that says we're married, and that's the extent of it. And so really for this one, I think it's just more of this is what culture is trying to say now about commitment and about relationships. And so, so the challenge is that stop treating your marriage like it's just another situationship. That it's got to be something different, and it's got to be more like the eras before, where you're talking about being exclusive, and you're talking about going out, and you're talking, the things that are positive. But I don't know. I feel like situationship is just a really so ambiguous, and it's so like just almost even negative. It's just kind of like, yeah, we don't really know what's going on, but it's a situation.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to label it, but they're not going to be too committed.
Yeah.
And that really is kind of a lack of vision. They don't really know, like, I don't really know where this is going. You know, like we used to tell our boys, we still do, don't ever date anyone that you wouldn't consider marrying, because like that's the whole point, is for you to get to know somebody in a way to where would this be somebody I would consider marrying? And in a situation, it's really kind of a lack of confidence in knowing, like, this is somebody that I would consider marrying. So it's just kind of having a vision and knowing where your marriage is headed as well, and really wanting to dig in and make it something that is God honoring and is very secure.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Well, I think that we can learn a lot from old dating terms and things that we used to say back in the day that we thought were dumb, but they're not near as dumb as some of the ones that people are saying today. So I don't know. As you listen to this, I hope that it kind of brought back some memories of your dating relationships, and maybe it was a little bit fun to relive those memories. But also, I hope it's a challenge. I hope it's a challenge just to take some of those terms and really apply it to your marriage, because those terms will make your marriage healthier.
Yep.
So, hey, thanks for listening. We're glad you were here, and we'll see you guys next week on the Redeemed Marriage Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.